Neil Bleiweiss. Welcome to my presentation on a motivational research proposal for the Motivational Design course at the University of South Florida. Review a specific motivational problem, as well as some supporting motivational theories, suggested interventions, the implementation timeline of these interventions, evaluation, and conclusions. Higher education, training staff on informational content that learners have previous exposure to or may be new to the learning material can present a bevy of challenges in designing motivating training material and coursework. Training working professionals requires a different approach than working with student learners currently enrolled in academic programs, as their initial rationale to pursue training materials may be entirely out of their control, or not in line with their anticipated motivational strategies for pursuing training. This presents a unique opportunity for this proposal as it will assess the development and implementation of a very nuanced course for a specially trained population of learners, and later evaluate the effectiveness of motivational intervention and strategies on not only this course, but this group of learners. At the University of South Florida, USF, the Office of Admissions Recruitment Team consists of 16 to 20 full-time staff members who serve to recruit incoming prospective students to the university from around the country. The recruitment team has access to many trainings and professional development opportunities through the university. However, each summer, the recruitment team is required to attend their annual travel training, in which they meet with each academic program around the university to review program highlights and changes to admissions criteria prior to beginning their recruitment travel season and meeting students at their institutions around the school year. The travel training schedule typically consists of several weeks of individual synchronous training meetings with academic advisors from each program, around an hour each in length, and following a presentation model. Following attendance at the training sessions, there are no post-course follow-up items, nor are there any in-course components to break up the presentation session. As the recruitment team members are in different locations, this also requires that all sessions be available to complete in a hybrid in-person or remote learning format. Though this training presents very useful information that has practical application for the recruitment team, due to the style, mandatory attendance, and long duration of the training process, many members of the team typically approach each session with low motivation. In this proposal, I will focus on the travel training session for the USF Health academic programs for which I serve as the instructor. Due to the volume of content and staff availability, the proposed course will likely only be offered once for the recruitment team, which will require a variety of effective motivational interventions to be implemented to increase the learner motivation, satisfaction, and engagement, including opportunities for learner-learner and learner content interactions rather than solely focusing on learner-instructor interaction. Theories and models. The motivational development of this course, including the self-regulation theory, theory of academic emotions, expectancy value theory, arousal theory, and Keller's ARCS model. Each of these theories provides a theoretical basis for motivation in education and instruction and can be tied to different elements of motivational intervention for learning. Keller's ARCS model will serve as the primary model used in the course design, with the other listed theories providing important insights into the strategies utilized to promote the learning behaviors of this group. I will review each theory briefly on the following slides. Design refers to the process through which learners systematically direct their thoughts, feelings, and actions towards the attainment of their goals. This is a self-directed process in which learners convert their mental abilities into academic skills. Standards refers to defining consistent standards of learning content. Monitoring refers to an internal or external self-assessment to compare the relevant aspect of the self against the learning content, to then finally access the internal strength or willpower towards learning the content. Self-regulation theory is included in this proposal to help promote learner behaviors that can help reorient their attitudes towards the content, in conjunction with relevant strategies from the ARCS model, and create a positive attitude towards completion of the goal of completing the course. The theory of academic emotions refers to the emotional experience of learning and teaching. Emotional regulation can play a significant part in learning in conjunction with the learner's ability to self-regulate, as their positive emotions towards learning, such as excitement or enjoyment, can aid in their motivation, whereas negative emotions, such as boredom or anxiety, can further detract from their motivation and learning behaviors. According to Pekrin and Linenbrink-Garcia, emotions can be grouped based on how they impact cognitive ability, or organized via Feldman-Barrett and Russell's taxonomy pictured on this slide. In this taxonomy, emotions are based off their positive or negative valence as well as their affective activation. A task or goal is based on how highly that goal is valued by their expected perception for success. Expectancy value theory is considered an interaction-centered motivational model, which focuses on the interactions of individual traits with environmental influences on behavior, including social factors such as teaching style and the manner of using praise. The expectancy value function is depicted as motivation equals expectancy multiplied by value. Arousal theory is a bell curve model covering the spectrum of emotional arousal level compared to performance, demonstrating that individuals may fluctuate between states of low arousal and performance, such as boredom, to higher states such as excitement or anxiety, where the arousal may be too high. As indicated in this previous section regarding academic emotions, it is important to consider the affective activation or arousal of emotions towards reaching this optimal state in conjunction with the valence of the emotion. Which is a theory of motivation addressing four primary components of motivation: attention, relevance, confidence, and satisfaction. The ARCS model will serve this proposal as the primary theory for structuring the planned course, using the ARCS Motivational Design Workbook to outline the course components pertaining to each of the four motivational components of ARCS. This model allows instruction to be developed using a series of process questions and subcategories within each greater category to identify appropriate motivational interventions that can be used to generate or promote attention, relevance, confidence, or satisfaction accordingly. The primary goal of ARCS, in addition to improving motivation, is to provide guidance to answering questions of what are the specific factors that motivate students, and what type of motivational strategies are most effective, as well as how, when, and how many to implement into a learning environment to maximize student motivation. The four major categories of ARCS are attention, relevance, confidence, and satisfaction. Each has three subcategories pertaining to specific motivational tactics and strategies that can further influence instructional design and help to answer the process questions pictured on this slide. Design process, which consists of 10 steps that are paired with the ARCS categories and subcategories through both course design and development, as well as course improvement and revision. The use of the 10 steps can be used to review the planned course material and motivational interventions and strategies to analyze the anticipated effectiveness of the material. Keller states that in most training situations, each step can be performed in a simple, straightforward manner to improve the motivational appeal of the course, facilitating an efficient and easier way to evaluate course design for motivation. The use of this model follows a waterfall flow that instructors or instructional designers will follow in a step-by-step sequence to review and evaluate their course design for motivational strategy and appropriate intervention as needed throughout all components of the course, including possible strategies to include and implement before the course, during the instruction of the course, or after the course is completed. In using this process, Keller states that the systematic process exists to take a problem-solving approach to the motivational design by using a system thinking approach, in which the system is not necessarily prescribed or mechanical, but may be more reliant on experience, intuition, and creativity. This specific course session will cover the basics of the admissions requirements and application processes of the medicine, physician assistant, physical therapy, pharmacy, pharmaceutical nanotechnology, Master of and Master of Science of Public Health, Master of Health Administration, Doctor of Public Health, and Doctor of Philosophy in Public Health programs. In addition to this material, there will also be a brief overview of academic and admissions-related highlights, such as time to complete the program, possible career outcomes, etc., for three other programs in USF Health: nursing, athletic training, and medical or integrated biomedical sciences. This course will be offered one time due to scheduling availability of the recruitment team and availability of training sessions to accommodate all the programs being included in the training series from around the institution. The course will be offered in a synchronous hybrid format. The delivery system will be classroom-based with some self-paced print material. Remote learners will be present via Microsoft Teams call and will receive any print material ahead of the course via email to complete simultaneously to their in-person counterparts. Step 2. Obtain audience information. This course is for a combination of entry-level and experienced workers in the recruitment team. Some staff will be brand new within their first several months to 1 year, while a handful have worked on the team for 5 to 10 years, and one worker having over 10 years of experience. However, this learner population primarily does not work with the programs this course will cover, so even the more experienced learners will have a lower level of familiarity with the course material. Step 3. Analyze audience. Having been able to assess the students' attitudes toward the course, my suspicions have been confirmed that the learners have relatively low motivational attitudes towards pursuing this learning content, in part as they are being mandated to take the course, but also due to the perception that they are already familiar with the learning content. The learners were provided with Keller's Course Interest Survey, or CIS, to evaluate their motivational levels prior to the course. The CIS is a 34-item inventory assessing instructor-led material. The results of the pre-course assessment indicated that the attention readiness scores are low, however, perceived relevance scores were higher, as the type of material included is relevant to both daily function and long-term advancement opportunities within the field of admissions. The felt confidence of the learners is also fairly high, as the learners have familiarity with transferable information and skills that will prepare them well for this material and to handle this course. The satisfaction potential results were lower to moderate, with most learners expecting to be dissatisfied with the session. Materials. I will be operating as the instructor for this course, so I'm incredibly familiar with the course material that will be included. The existing course materials consist of a single PowerPoint format presentation that overviews the previously mentioned academic programs, as well as a small sample of de-identified prospective student inquiries to be used as simulation questions. Due to the lack of other content, the objectives and assessments outlined in Item 5 will require additional work to prepare learning content that helps achieve the planned motivational interventions while also providing alternative forms of learning content. Step 5. List objectives and assessments. Using the 4 categories of ARCs, there are several outlined objectives. For example, attention. The primary attention-getting feature for these learners will be the actual learning content itself. An example, average admitted GPA or MCAT scores, preferred majors, etc. A large problem area or deficiency for this course in attention is that the delivery of the course itself will be a hybrid synchronous model, as all of the learners are not geographically based in Tampa, so the instruction will have to be relatively strict to the schedule and process to ensure that all learners receive the content, since there will not be asynchronous components. From a satisfaction perspective, the greatest satisfaction from this course, I believe, will not likely be experienced until the recruiters begin to apply this knowledge in the real world and are able to effectively speak to the material when working with students. With the learning content, there may be some simulated content that might put a learner into a state of dissonance that can help promote satisfaction upon resolution. However, aside from that, I will need to work on developing more content that can promote the intrinsic reinforcement for the learners. The structure of the activities should align well with the reinforcement of the learned content, but may also benefit from more opportunities that can condition the appropriate behaviors. Step 6. List potential tactics. The table pictured on the right includes a selection of ARCS-aligned motivational strategies that can be used before, during, and after the course to promote each category. This table has been taken from Keller's Motivational Design Workbook. In reviewing the potential tactics for use listed on the previous slide, I plan to attempt to utilize all the listed tactics, as many require low levels of pre-course preparation and investment as the instructor, which I anticipate will have positive impacts on the motivational levels of the learners. Step 8. Integrate with instruction. The course content has already been developed for this training, as I have used the material for previous presentations to other groups. I have already begun to review the existing materials separately based on this list to identify places where I can implement these throughout the session. The learning content has already been updated to be the most accurate information, but now requires the implementation of some of these interventions to be better aligned with the strategies from steps 6 and 7. Step 9. Select and develop materials. Similarly to step 8, some of the course materials already exist, such as simulation inquiries or role-play scenarios for the learners to answer. However, to vary the style of learning and promote attention strategies, I also will work on identifying a gamification tool to assess learning during the lesson, such as using a Kahoot quiz or another tool. Step 10. Evaluate and revise. Following completion of the course, I plan to use 2 assessment tools to gauge learner satisfaction and overall success. The first assessment will be a repeat of the initial knowledge test that will start the session, and learners will complete this on-site to gauge their own knowledge levels. After the course, I plan to reassess the learners with the CIS to gauge their motivational attitudes after completion to determine the effectiveness of the interventions and revise the course for future iterations. Before the course will be focused on attention and satisfaction. As the students are starting with low levels in both these areas, I intend to focus attention strategies around inquiry arousal tactics, such as the use of the pre-assessment knowledge test, but also by providing opportunities for problem-based inquiry when presenting the content. To improve satisfaction, I will review the included course material to ensure equity for skill levels where possible, in the event any of the learners are new to the profession and have not yet developed the same skill level as those who have been long-standing members of the recruitment team. During the course, maintaining a varied approach will keep the learners engaged via the use of different styles of instruction, including presentation, problem-based inquiry, simulation, and in vocal inflection of delivery. My goal is to provide multiple opportunities for the learners to interact with each other as well as the content, allowing for more autonomous engagement with the course material rather than solely instructor-led activity. To provide some small extrinsic reward for motivation, I also plan to purchase some candy and other small prizes that can be used for success in some of the learning material to help promote satisfaction. Following the course, the post-assessment knowledge test will be provided to review the overall learning success from the learners, as well as review their levels of attention maintained in learning the material. I intend to also have the learners retake the CIS again at a later time to review changes in their motivational attitudes and also receive any feedback they may have related to the course materials that can be used towards longer-term success. Prior to the start of this course, I am working with the supervisors and leadership of the recruitment team to identify larger rewards to be delivered later after the course is completed for more complex or complicated learning content to continue promoting equity of effort for reward, such as gift cards or some amount of time off for learners who may go above and beyond during the course. As a long-term goal for the development of this course, I hope to take the feedback received and work on an online module format to be used asynchronously at any time throughout the year via Articulate 360 or a similar online platform, thereby enabling the recruitment team, or even new members of their team or my own, a way to learn this material at their own pace or to view the content for brushing up as needed. Lesson, the learners will retake the knowledge test assessed at the beginning of the course to assess their learning. Following this, at a later time, the learners will retake the CIS. By utilizing the CIS, I hope to effectively gauge if there were improvements to the ARC scores for this population, particularly focusing on any score changes for the attention and satisfaction sections, as those 2 categories have pre-tested as the lowest of the 4. After receiving the CIS post-assessment scores, I plan to review the implemented motivational strategies outlined in the previous sections and make any applicable revisions to improve the learning content based on the feedback gained from the CIS. I hope to see an increase in both attention and satisfaction, and if there is not an increase, or if it is only slight, then I intend to review any narrative or qualitative feedback received as well, in order to have a post-course meeting with the recruitment team leadership for any last feedback or other recommendations they may have for the future iterations of this course, whether synchronous or asynchronous. offering that could stand to greatly benefit from motivational interventions for learning, which I hope to achieve via the strategies outlined in the ARCS model systematic design. Utilizing the theories outlined, the self-regulation theory, theory of academic emotions, Keller's ARCS model, expectancy value theory, and arousal theory, I have aimed to identify course components and strategies that create a positive increase to all 4 dimensions of ARCS, as well as improving overall motivation for this learning content and course material. As the instructor for this course and subject matter expert, I intend to improve the learning experience for this group in addition to identifying these much-needed motivational design tactics so that future course sessions can be more productive and meaningful to this audience. The course material does leave room for growth, and though these strategies are only a beginning, with feedback and evaluation they have great potential to have a positive impact on the course itself, while also providing an opportunity to review the interventions that were effective and those that were not for this population. While I will also be looking for specific improvements in the CIS feedback received pertaining to 2 out of 4 sections of ARCS, I also hope that I am able to receive meaningful data and feedback pertaining to all 4 categories to help revise the course to be the most effective for the largest amount of learners. Additionally, should the feedback prove that there are sections missing information, I plan to revisit the theoretical models utilized to make sure I am implementing the correct types of interventions. Though this may be a highly nuanced and specific training for a very niche group, with this proposal I plan to work towards producing a training module that could be used by any staff at the university, or to at least serve as a model for other courses and training sessions moving forward.